You're listening to the Super League pod, coming up on episode 115 of your favourite rugby league podcast. We add a couple of items to the Bob Phillips to-do list, as well as adding a well-needed touch of femininity to the show when we're joined by Scoots Mackenzie to discuss her Hull FC's victory in the Challenge Cup, as well as all the feedback, news and previews that you've come to expect from your favourite rugby league show. So strap yourselves in, kids. It's time for your podcast with your views.
No, and the birthday of rugby league.
Oh yeah, and it's the birthday of rugby league. Don't interrupt me again. It's the Super League pod. Okay, welcome to the Super League pod. As always, I'm joined, especially on this Cup final special, by Mark Illingworth across the table from me. Mark, how's things with you? How's your week been away from the Challenge Cup final?
Pretty decent, I suppose.
Anything exciting happened?
Been out a couple of times.
Look at you! I saw you and Emma at Cuckoo and getting on it in Preston.
Yeah, then we went out to the Living Brewery. Had an open weekend this weekend, so we popped over to there with a few friends for one of my friends' birthdays as well. Yesterday, well, a couple of my friends' birthdays actually yesterday, so that was fun. Had a nice little weekend there of that. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been not a quiet one because I've had her in
a busy one then.
Since we last spoke, really. So it's been a busy one, but no, it's been fun. The weather's been reasonable, so we've just been doing lots of sort of different things. We've been to the beach, we've been to the park, we've had a lot of picnics. We've been to the soft play area nearby us, the Funtastic, which she really likes as well. So it's just been a nice week, and we had another trip over to West Yorkshire at the weekend for my granddad's 87th birthday, so obviously took Erin along, and she saw her best mate ever, my grandma, her great grandma, which she loves as well. And that's been about it, really. It's just been a quiet one. I was lucky enough to be able to watch the cup final in peace and quiet. My mum took Erin off my hands for 4 or 5 hours on Saturday afternoon, so I was able to just sort of chill out and watch it and concentrate on it rather than watch it later on Saturday night. So that was nice. But no, that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Nothing more doing than that, I'm afraid. It's just been a standard week.
Fair enough.
So we'll move swiftly on at this point into the feedback and shout-outs, because we've had quite a bit this week, haven't we?
Yeah, plenty. And in no particular order. Let's go through them all, I suppose.
Yes.
We'll start with Paul Michael Craig at PaulMac_78. It's great to hear from Paul.
Always good, yeah.
He said, given you think it was smart of Gateshead to become Newcastle, should Salford change their name to Manchester?
No.
Well, it was me that said this, wasn't it?
It was. What do you think?
Should answer this in a way. Well, I think they're very different sets of circumstances.
Yeah.
So Gateshead actually moved to start playing in Newcastle, and Gateshead is a town with a population of about 130,000 people or so. Yeah. Whereas Newcastle's a city with about 3 times that population, and it's probably. Gateshead don't have a great, a long history. The club first formed in 1999, had 1 year before the ill-fated merger with Hull FC. Then it reformed a year after that, and it's been in the lower divisions ever since it's reformed. And some of the records it's got are the negative records of record defeats and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So it was a positive step as well as a logical step when they moved over the river, but. For Salford and Manchester, it's a different thing. Salford's an established rugby league club. It's a city in its own right. It's Salford in the wider sense, and the stadium that they play in is in the city of Salford. It's not in the town of Salford anymore, but it's in the city of Salford still. And there's a population of around about 400,000 people in Salford anyway.
Yeah.
So, or at least 250, 280, more than twice the population of Gateshead, I'm sure.
Yes.
So that gives an opportunity there for a sports market and stuff to get involved in the club. And there's other clubs on the outskirts of Manchester, plus clubs from inside Manchester. We've got the Manchester Rangers and people like that who are trying to become Manchester's rugby league side. And So I think they're very different sets of circumstances. I certainly think it'd be good to have a rugby league brand within Manchester that's strong, as well as it would be to have one in Salford and every northern city. But that's my answer to that.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. There's just no way that Salfordians would allow it, is there, really? The die-hard core of Salford Rugby League fans just, Marwan Kukash has driven away a fair amount of Salford support. If he wants to strike that final coup de grace, I would suggest to him changing the name to the Manchester Red Devils and trying to relocate. That'll pretty much do for you, wouldn't it? So no, I tend to agree with you there, sir. Who else then?
Paul O'Brien, he said, on holiday with crap phone signal but just managed to download Super League Pod, will give me something to listen to whilst on the beach.
Good man, Paul. And listening back, I believe it's Paul's wedding anniversary today on Monday.
Oh, is it?
I've seen stuff on Facebook.
Was that Mrs. Paul in the picture he sent us?
Yes, it was, I believe so.
Right.
Yeah. But congratulations, happy wedding anniversary.
Was it Paul who sent us a picture?
Paul O'Brien. I don't know, I've seen a lot of pictures.
Oh, right, okay.
So it could be, but there are pictures on Facebook because he and I are friends upon it.
There you go.
I saw that today. Also, happy birthday Rugby League.
Yeah, of course.
August the 29th.
Yeah,
It's 121 years old today. Yeah. Congratulations to everyone, Paul, and to rugby in general.
Yep.
Okay, who else?
Milestones celebrated all over. FC #ToughMudder trademark at Langers38 said, regarding your SLP recommends, Head of Steam are a Cameron's chain up in the northeast. They have venues in Leeds and Hull as well. #Quality Brews. Yeah, it turns out they have quite a few gaffs in that sort of neck of the woods. So if you're near one of them, go and try out the burgers, because the ones I had were pretty good. So if they're as good everywhere, then get on it.
There you go, good stuff. And you suspect they will be, since they'll probably have the same suppliers.
You would, relatively local base as well, you'd think so.
Absolutely. Look who's next.
Rich Wilkinson, he says, now then, lads. Awesome pals.
Hang on, is that your Yorkshire accent?
That's my Rich Wilkinson accent. Bloody cracker, actually. Just a couple of things. First, regarding the kind horse, Mark, you guys debated the fact that a second-string squad player was probably our player of the season. Many rhinos agree he is, but he should not be regarded as a backup anymore. He is a gun who continues to improve and is better with every game. Mac tends to leave him out at times, much to the fans' confusion. Jimmy must be a regular in the 17 moving forward in the coming years. Defo in the top underrated players in Super League debate.
Yep.
He'll certainly be one of the names up for the award this year, I'd say, in the SLP.
Certainly, yeah.
On the short list, you would think. Second, it's a recommendation for both of you guys. It's called Last Chance U, a fly-on-the-wall docu-mini-series on Netflix about junior college American football team in Mississippi. It's honest and brutal and a real insight into kids trying to get key pathways to the NFL. I reckon you will both love it.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of this yet. My finger was hovering over it the other day, but it was a bit late at night, so I watched Moneyball, just because I was flicking through and I was a bit knackered. But it's on my Netflix watch list.
Fair
and
enough.
As we discussed pre-show, I am more than happy to share my ex-wife's email address and Netflix password with you if you fancy watching it as well.
That was something I was... another person, we're going to get onto a third person who's recommended that show to us this week in a second. We had that same recommendation in sort of separate to the show kind of thing from Dargana as well. And he said, just Rob Tom's password.
Yeah. I'm more than happy to share it out.
I did point out that I used to let you have one of my devices on Sky Go, so you can watch the rugby.
I'm more than happy to share. You can have my Amazon as well, actually, as a little payback.
Mark Dixon, he said, hello chaps, enjoyed the show, although for much of Wednesday I have been singing Shaggers in the Night to the tune of Love is in the Air. Lots of feedback.
Shaggers in the Night. Everywhere I look around. It works.
Whilst Mark was in Beamish, I was up the road in South Shield staying with the mother-in-law whose bedroom coincidentally used to be nicknamed Beamish by my partner and her siblings due to the fact it was decorated
off of the past.
Then I too am excited about the imminent NFL season, and if you like Hard Knocks and All or Nothing, I can highly recommend Last Chance U on Netflix. It's a documentary series about the best Division 2 college football team and follows the players on field and academic life as they try to get into Division 1 colleges and ultimately the NFL. Then a bit more info for his Ask Dr. Barbie says, like a lot of people, I have a mainly sedentary existence with spurts of guilt/weight/enthusiasm motivating exercise. Although since 2011 I have played touch rugby, hence torn calf, at least once a week, and in the last couple of years I have played union, training weekly and playing sporadically. Hope that adds some weight to the argument that I'm probably superhuman. Well, Bob hasn't had time yet to thoroughly research cramping, but I'm sure he will be on it.
Well, he's been on his jollies, hasn't he, our Bob?
Yeah.
So I'm certain he'll take up the mantle.
Elliot Wrench, he got in touch. This is probably one I should have linked back into with Paul's at the start. But he said, I like the Wolves name and branding, but maybe teams should have a tag relating to the town area like Wire, Chemix, etc.
This was our discussion about, it came out of Hunslet renaming or rebranding to Hunslet LFC, didn't it? My opinion doesn't change. If Warrington just wanted to be Warrington RLFC, it wouldn't matter to me. But if they want to continue to be the Wolves, I'll allow them to do that as well. I'm just, I have no issue with paying homage to the past.
I think Warrington have done that in a clever way by creating that timeline thing they have at the stadium, and bringing the Wire nickname back in through the branding and all of that. Yeah. So I think it's like Elliot's saying, really, it's getting a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
couldn't agree more.
Okay, Dom Hodgson at the Hodge, he said, the wife started listening to the show, in brackets, she appreciates the shit you give me, and has started looking at visiting Beamish. Well, obviously, how a memory's going to be made.
You know now that what we can start doing is really stitching Dom up and suggesting places that we suspect his missus will really enjoy, but that might be torturous for him. So, and this is in no way me assuming anything about Mrs. Hodgson, but for argument's sake, the Laura Ashley Fabric Museum or something along those lines that might be not something I would expect Dom to enjoy, that a more genteel other half might do. So let's rack our brains and see if we can't stitch him
maybe
up.
Don't spend time in the town where the pub and the sweet shop are, but spend the time in the 1940s farm where all the farm girls stuff is that women will find more interesting than men, maybe.
Possibly so.
There you go.
We've worked very hard not to be sexist for the last 30 seconds there, haven't we? Well done, us.
Have we?
I feel like I did.
I don't know.
Yeah, you might fail.
Frogmore, he says, you should join Raider Nation as we look set to build a new dynasty team. So this is on about which NFL team you should pick.
Yes, well, I've settled on one, and I think I told you about it over the weekend, didn't I? I'm going to go with, they're not a new franchise, are they? But the LA Rams, they've moved back to Los Angeles from St. Louis, haven't they?
Yes, they have, yeah.
And having looked, I thought that might be a nice way to... They did pique my interest because it's not a new team, but a new location for a new fan, and maybe I can get on board that way. And then having delved a little bit further into their history, I'm more convinced that this is actually quite a good match for me, given the fact that they are, perennially underachieving, haven't really done a right lot for the last 15 years. That all sort of sits well with, the team I follow in rugby league that hasn't done a right lot in the last 15 years. Yeah, they were a
nearly team for much of their existence. Then they were a successful team in the early noughties.
Yeah.
And since then they've been on a period of decline, really.
Exactly. Interesting Rams stat for you, though. They are the only NFL franchise to have won a championship in 3 different cities.
Oh, right. Is that the case?
Yes, that is the case. In St. Louis and Cleveland, and then and before that in Los Angeles. They were the Cleveland Rams first, then they moved to Los Angeles.
But did they win as the Cleveland Rams?
According to Wikipedia. They might not have won a Super Bowl. It might have been an
it would have been. It was pre-Super Bowl when
something
they were,
like that. But they've won a championship in 3 different cities as that franchise, and they're the only team to do that. So I am learning. We've got a young rookie quarterback.
That's good, I suppose, for people who don't want longevity and loyalty. Kind of like how Bradford Bulls have had to reform as new companies.
There you go.
A number of times.
It all fits rather well. So yeah, go Rams. I'm going to invest some time into educating myself a bit more about that team specifically, and then I obviously know the rules to American football, so getting into it and watching it isn't going to be difficult.
So your heroes are Kurt Warner and Marshall Falk.
Now they are, yes. Those are names I'm aware of, yes. There you go.
You used to have a wide receiver called Torrey Holt and one called Isaac Bruce during those glory days as well.
Right.
They were quite good. Your new hero now is Todd Gurley.
Yes.
He's the young pretender. He was the rookie running back last year,
right,
and looks set to have another big year this year unless he catches up with some sort of injuries. And then you've got quite an exciting player, Tavon Austin,
right,
who's a wide receiver but kind of goes all over the place. So if he can stay fit, he's another good player for you.
And I've got about 3 episodes of Hard Knocks lined up on the Sky Planner as well. So when you go tonight, that's my evening.
Oh, has it started showing on Sky?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I've got the first 2 downloaded on catch up, and I think episode 3 starts at some point over the next couple of days.
All right, there you go.
I'm ready to go. There we go. So that's my NFL team, the Rams.
Okay. Bob Phillips, he said, yes, we do have your